A Magical Beginning in Geppetto's Workshop. I remember the evening vividly. The air was crisp, carrying the sweet scent of pine wood. Geppetto, the old, gentle-hearted carpenter, had just finished another long day in his cozy workshop, a place filled with the warmth of his creations, shelves lined with toys, clocks, and intricately carved figurines, each piece telling a story of its own. Geppetto was lonely, living by himself in the small, charming village. His heart ached for companionship. One cold winter night, he took a special piece of wood, determined to craft something extraordinary. With each chisel and shave, the figure of a boy began to emerge from the block. Geppetto gave his creation a name, Pinocchio. As he worked late into the night, the flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on the walls. Each detail, from Pinocchio's button nose to his mischievous eyes, was shaped with fatherly love. Geppetto whispered to his wooden son, "If only you were a real boy." Little did he know, the night held magic in its folds. The midnight hour approached, and the stars glittered brightly as if winking at Geppetto's wishes. Suddenly, a swirl of light and magic filled the workshop, and there stood a beautiful blue fairy. She had heard Geppetto's wish and decided to bless his creation with the gift of life. With a flick of her wand, Pinocchio's wooden limbs began to move. His eyes blinked open, filled with curiosity and wonder. Geppetto's eyes widened with disbelief and overwhelming joy. His heartfelt wish was granted. Pinocchio, once a mere puppet, could now laugh, dance, and speak. "Remember," the blue fairy cautioned, "you must prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish to become a real boy." And thus began the incredible journey of Pinocchio and Geppetto, a tale of adventure, love, and the pursuit of humanity. Pinocchio comes to life. I remember the excitement that filled the air the night Geppetto finished carving Pinocchio. The gentle craftsman had put all his love and care into shaping the wooden puppet. Geppetto looked at his creation with eyes full of hope and dreams. He wondered what it would be like if Pinocchio could come to life. As he gazed at the puppet, he said a little prayer, hoping for a miracle. That night, the magic happened. A blue fairy, shimmering with an ethereal glow, appeared in Geppetto's humble workshop. She hovered over Pinocchio, her eyes twinkling with kindness and wisdom. With a wave of her sparkling wand, the fairy granted Geppetto's wish. Pinocchio's wooden limbs started to move, creaking as they softened into flesh and blood. The fairy spoke to Pinocchio, her voice as sweet as a melody. She told him he was alive now, but still a puppet at heart. To truly become a real boy, he must prove himself brave, truthful, and unselfish. These words echoed in my mind as I watched Pinocchio blink, seeing the world with eyes full of wonder for the first time. Geppetto awoke and nearly stumbled over in surprise. He could hardly believe his eyes when he saw his puppet walking and talking. Tears of joy brimmed in his eyes as he embraced Pinocchio, feeling as though his greatest dream had come true. From that moment, an unbreakable bond formed between Geppetto and the living puppet. Pinocchio felt an overwhelming sense of duty, though he didn't fully understand what it meant to be brave, truthful, and unselfish. Each day brought new lessons and challenges as Pinocchio learned about the world and, more importantly, about himself. The scene in the workshop that night was the start of a journey filled with adventures, laughter, and tears. It was the moment the puppet named Pinocchio began his quest to become a real boy, forever changing both his and Geppetto's lives. Adventures begin, straying from the right path. When I first set out on my journey as a wooden boy, I had no idea just how many twists and turns awaited me. Geppetto always said to stay on the right path, but curiosity led me astray more times than I cared to admit. My adventures began innocently enough. I remember the day I skipped school, eager to explore the world. That's when I met a cunning fox and his sly cat companion. They promised me fame and riches if I joined their traveling show. How could I resist? As I walked with them, I kept hearing Geppetto's voice in my head, reminding me of the importance of honesty and hard work. But the allure of quick riches was too strong. Little did I know, I was stepping into a trap. The Theater of Illusions. Mesmerized by the bright lights and cheering crowds, I performed for the puppeteer. For a brief moment, I felt like a star. But this illusion was fleeting. I was soon locked in a cage, another puppet for him to control. The escape. With a bit of luck and my trusty friend, the talking cricket, I managed to escape. But my troubles were far from over. Each new decision took me further from Geppetto and the safety of our home. The Temptation of Pleasure Island. One of the most dangerous detours was Pleasure Island. I couldn't believe my eyes. Boys indulging in mischief, no rules, endless fun. But fun turned to horror as we all began to change, cursed for our greed and disobedience. By then, I was desperate to find my way back to Geppetto, yearning for the simplicity and safety of our little home. Navigating through deceit and danger, I realized how valuable his guidance had been, and how far I had strayed from it. Yet each misstep taught me something invaluable about life, trust, and the essence of being real. The lessons of honesty and bravery. When I think back to the adventures of Pinocchio, two qualities vividly stand out: honesty and bravery. These lessons were unforgettable, etched deep in my memory like they were just yesterday. One day, I clearly remember Pinocchio set off to school. The promise he made to Geppetto lingered in his heart, but soon he found himself tangled in the deceitful words of a cunning fox and a sly cat. They coaxed him with tales of an easy, carefree life and a magical land where money grew on trees. Pinocchio, enticed by their guile, lied about where he was going and why. I witnessed Pinocchio's innocent eyes fill with greed, seeing his nose stretch longer and longer with every fib. Each untruth painted a vivid picture of the weight of dishonesty, teaching me that lies, no matter how small, always come to light. Then there was the time he was swallowed by a giant whale while searching for Geppetto. The image of Pinocchio, trapped in the belly of the monstrous beast, stayed with me. Instead of yielding to fear, Pinocchio's bravery shone brightly. He crafted a makeshift raft with Geppetto and sailed courageously out of the whale's belly, battling waves and despair. In those moments, I felt a rush of inspiration. Contentment isn't found in deceit or taking shortcuts. It's forged in the crucible of bravery and pure, honest intentions. Pinocchio's tale is timeless, not just because it's a captivating story, but because of these invaluable lessons. Honesty is precious. Lies may seem harmless initially, but they always have consequences. Courage is essential. Facing fears head on, like Pinocchio did, paves the way to true growth. Integrity leads to lasting happiness. Staying truthful and brave ultimately brings joy and fulfillment. Pinocchio's story resonated with me deeply, a call to embody these virtues in every step of my life's journey. Heartwarming reunion with Geppetto. The day I finally found my way back to Geppetto was unlike any other. I had been on a journey filled with fantastic escapades and perilous trials, yet nothing could prepare me for the moment of reunion. As I approached the little workshop, my heart raced faster than ever. The sights and smells were so familiar: the scent of freshly carved wood, the sight of the cozy little house standing as a beacon of hope. My wooden heart pounded as if it were made of flesh and blood. Inside, Geppetto was bent over his workbench, meticulously crafting something, unaware of my presence. I pushed open the door, and the creak caught his attention. He looked up, his eyes widening with a mix of disbelief and overwhelming joy. "Pinocchio, is that you?" he exclaimed, his voice trembling. "Yes, father, it's me," I replied, my voice choked with emotion. He dropped his tools and rushed towards me, his weathered hands reaching out to touch my face. It felt as though time had stopped at that very instant. Every tear, every worry he had ever felt, melted away. We embraced, and for a moment, the world around us vanished. There was just Geppetto and me. His eyes sparkled with tears as he held me close. "I've missed you so much," he whispered. I could feel the depth of his love in that simple statement. It wasn't just a reunion of man and puppet. It was a reunion of souls. We sat by the fireplace, talking for hours about my adventures and his days waiting for my return. As the fire crackled and danced, a feeling of warmth and contentment washed over me. The bond we share is truly unbreakable. Geppetto's unconditional love and patience transformed me. The heartwarming reunion with Geppetto wasn't just a happy ending, it was a new beginning, one filled with promise, love, and the deepest connections that life could offer. The transformation into a real boy picture this. I found myself tiptoeing around Geppetto's workshop with a heart full of excitement and a touch of apprehension. As a wooden puppet who had just come to life, every step was an adventure. The old, kind-hearted woodcarver Geppetto, my creator, treated me like his own son. Despite my wooden nature, he believed that within me lay the promise of a real boy. One chilly night, under the shimmering stars, I made my wish upon a star, a wish that echoed through the universe. I want to be a real boy. Little did I know, my wish reached the fairy with turquoise hair, a magical being who had the power to breathe life into dreams. The fairy appeared, glimmering bright as a moonlight, and gave me a conditional gift, the chance to become a real boy, but only if I proved myself brave, truthful, and unselfish. Though my heart was wooden, it swelled with hope. My journey was far from easy. I faced temptation. I crossed paths with the cunning fox and his sly companion, the cat, who lured me with promises of wealth. I strayed into Pleasure Island, enticed by the freedom of mischief, only to transform into a donkey. Yet, hope remained. I escaped and headed back, always driven by the dream to become real. Throughout my adventures, Geppetto's love guided me. He searched tirelessly when I was lost, forgave me when I erred, and never stopped believing in me. My greatest trial came when I rescued him from the belly of a giant whale. Courage surged within me. I proved my worth through sacrifice. In an ethereal moment, the fairy returned. She touched me with her wand, and I felt a warmth unlike any other. My limbs softened, my heart beat, and tears formed. Not wooden drops, but real, salty tears. I was alive. I was a real boy,